My 9-year-old sister was sent to boarding school but never came back. Plus update. Up until about 7 months ago, I lived with my mom, dad, and my little sister. My sister is no longer here, she's in boarding school. We are not bad kids, we're half white, half Asian. When my grandpa got sick 4 years ago we moved here so my dad can take care of him. Me and my sister worked hard to learn the language. Despite her age, she actually caught on better than me and I was so impressed with her. The issue began with grandma. She would really look down on my sister and I love my sister and didn't like it one bit. My mom said it's cultural and I shouldn't make a fuss, but it was hard when grandma really started making it obvious. She got me clothes, games, etc. But my sis got no attention. 4 years ago, we lived with grandpa and grandma. In that time of me getting spoiled, my sister got reprimanded for everything she did. I swear, it was super unfair, you wouldn't believe. Just under a year ago grandpa passed and my parents decided we'd stay here since I already speak and read pretty fluently. Grandma spoke to everyone about how rude and unladylike my sister is and my parents went along with it when I completely think that's wrong. 7 months ago her and grandma went out and my parents said she'd be at boarding school for the summer, just the summer. After 3 months I got anxious and asked when she'd be back and my dad ended up crying at the question. I was talked to by my dad and he said she loved boarding school so much she didn't want to come back yet. Like? Is that how boarding school works? I don't think so. Maybe I've been watching too much TV or reading too much Reddit, but we're in another country and I swear what they were doing was emotional abuse. Still, it got worse. After 5 months, I still hadn't gotten any contact, no message, no letters, nothing, and that's when my dad started making her room into his office space. We actually got into a big fight over it and I ended up with more chores, but he never answered why he was doing it if she'd be back soon. It's now been 7 months since the car trip that took my sister away and the final nail in the coffin hit. I was looking through the attic for my mom and found a box with some of her old stuff, including her phone. Why wouldn't she have her phone? I really just want to know if there's anything I can do. No one will tell me which boarding school she's at. I'm told not to worry about it because I'm a child. I know I'm too young to do much, but if there's anything I can do, please help. When I think about it I can't stop remembering the way my mom cried that day. It makes me shiver. I've been imagining the worst and I'd hate it if it ended up being something horrible I imagined. Update: I was able to get in touch with a few different sources, the least favorite of which was a phone call towards those that help find trafficked children. I knew my family would be investigated and actually went to meet up with another family at that time, so basically, a Redditor close to my age met with me and she had already shown my story to her family. They ended up letting me stay with them for a bit and made the proper calls to make sure it wasn't illegal. I actually even specified that I wasn't running from home, and I'd come back after the investigation. It didn't sit so well with authorities and I was actually forced to go back home, but it only got stranger from there. I went back home to a completely empty house, even grandma was gone, so I was allowed to stay with the other family for the time being. They were extremely kind. For a week I didn't get any news and, bless her mother's heart, but I was told I had a home here no matter the results. So, a few days after a week had passed, I got a call and it turns out they found my sister. My family had been taken in for questioning and were placed in holding for quite a while. I'm not sure why they didn't tell me this immediately though. I don't actually know the full story, but my sister was living close to 700 kilometers away. Nearly a whole day's drive. It wasn't summer school, or boarding school, or anything like that. My dad sold her to get married. At 9. She was effing 9 years old and he sold her to some effing stranger. My mom was off the hook because I still needed a parent and she wasn't in on it until it was a decent way in. My dad and grandma have been arrested though and I'm back living with my mom and sister now. I'm still in contact with the Redditor that let me stay with her and I'll forever be grateful. I have no idea what would have happened if I was around when authorities came knocking. She's my angel. On a more depressing note, my sister doesn't speak much, but she seemed to cheer up after I let her read my post. She said she felt abandoned and alone, among other things, but seeing how I and plenty of strangers gave their hearts for her made her very happy, so thank you all. This isn't over by a long shot, there's still things that are going to happen, but I have my sister, and that's all thanks to Reddit. Thank you. Called off my wedding after sister-in-law shaved my beard in my sleep. My fiancée Lexi and I are a happy couple of 6 years and engaged for 1 or so I thought. My fiancée's sister Sally has always been hostile towards me and would rarely speak to me, and when she did it would be because her parents were around. Sally is Lexi's rock because she got her through a tough time during college, and since then Lexi has told Sally everything about everything. We've had problems with this in the past due to her telling Sally personal things about my childhood I'd only told a few people. Which led to us not speaking for 3 months during the virus when she'd only leave our room for food and to go to the toilet, and recently we hadn't had an argument in a year plus until 3 nights ago she mentioned that she'd like me to shave my beard. I have a very thick beard that I've been growing for 8 years and I'm very proud. So of course I told Lexi I wouldn't be shaving my beard, to which she stormed off to the kitchen and slammed her wine glass into the sink, smashing it and a plate in the process. It was a very clear overreaction on her part. I immediately stood up and asked what the F she was doing. She then spun around and screamed that I'm a selfish a-hole because I won't shave my beard and ran to our bedroom and slammed the door. I ended up sleeping on the couch and woke up at around 4 a.m. to Sally with a razor trying to shave my beard, so I pushed her off me. Lexi then ran to check on Sally whilst I was looking at the big patch Sally had taken out of my beard. Then I went upstairs and packed a bag whilst Lexi shouted at me for hurting Sally. I told her to F off and that the wedding was off and drove an hour to my parents' house where I've been staying since the incident. Earlier today I got a text from Sally saying I was selfish for not shaving my beard because when I go down on Lexi it feels weird. I haven't replied to her. My family thinks I should break off the relationship, but her family said I should just shave it all and move on. So what should I do, and am I wrong? Edit, I've now got as of typing 99 plus texts / calls from Lexi saying things like don't leave, let's have intimacy one more time and I'm pregnant, she's trying to baby trap me. Lexi messaged me more weird things, miss me and I'll take the baby too, which I didn't understand until Sally messaged me saying Lexi is in hospital being treated after a suicide attempt. I don't believe it at all. I've blocked Sally's number now. I called the police and showed evidence of her suicidal messages, so she hopefully will be getting checked into an institution. Lexi's aunt, who is the only person on her side that agrees with me, just called me to tell me Lexi has been checked into a psychiatric unit for 2 weeks. I've filed a police report on Sally for assault, and I'm in the process of canceling the wedding venue. I'm back at the house. I've had a locksmith change the locks just in case. The wedding venue can't be refunded, but it was going to be paid by her parents anyway, so I don't care. I've also contacted my lawyers. Good riddance. Cillian Murphy stole my girlfriend. It all started when we watched Batman Begins. I was interested for the plot and Christian Bale, but she found Scarecrow to be so much better than Bruce Wayne. Yes, the deformed villain was hotter to her than billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne. She said girls always found villains hotter than heroes and I was making a huge fuss over it. Okay, true, but it's Christian Bale for God's sake. Days later, I catch her watching Batman Begins again and says she wasn't really paying attention to the plot and wanted to understand it better. The plot to her was Cillian Murphy and his seductive voice. I didn't get the big appeal when Bale was right there, but whatever, you do you. We usually watch movies when she comes over and she insists on picking the movie one day. I say, fine, as long as it's not Batman Begins, thinking her obsession was only caused because of that movie. She puts on this thriller movie called Red Lights. Cool, I love thriller movies, and then Cillian Murphy shows up. I'm sensing a pattern, but I quietly observe her reactions when he's on screen. She's giggling, blushing, kicking her feet, the whole shebang whenever he appears. And she absolutely loses it during that classroom scene with Murphy and Elizabeth Olsen where he gets caught staring at her and she repeats over and over, I would have folded with no shame. Like, hello? Your boyfriend is right here. It takes me a minute to realize she's repeating the scene and squealing like a schoolgirl. Her whole face is red by this point and she's just rolling on the bed giggling excitedly. It doesn't end there though. She starts watching Peaky Blinders just for Cillian Murphy. It's one thing to watch a movie for an actor, but a 6-season show is downright insane. She soon forgets I exist and replaces the photo widget she had of me with Cillian Murphy. That's when she crossed a line. Simping over Murphy I understand, but he doesn't get to replace me on her phone like that. Then, Oppenheimer comes out and I never hear the end of it. My girlfriend is a math/science person and she's never had any interest in history, but now that her man, as she's been referring to him for the past week, is starring in this 3-hour movie about an atomic bomb, she just has to see it. She says it's a good way to catch up on her history, but we all know the real reason. But fine, we go see it in theaters and she's so excited the entire time. Seriously, I've never seen her so happy before. So now I'm an idiot who's indulged his girlfriend's obsession with Cillian Murphy for too long and now I'm second to him. But it doesn't end there, because why would it end there? Why did nobody warn me about the nudity in this movie? Her jaw drops seeing him naked and going to Pound Town and the words are on the tip of her tongue. I can practically hear her say, that should have been me, so I lean over and whisper in the pettiest tone I could muster and tell her, just F him. She gets embarrassed and starts giggling nervously while hitting my arm softly saying, babe, no. What? No, but by her tone it was so obvious she was saying I would if I could. Anyway, we all know Christian Bale is better, so count your days Cillian Murphy.